Good morning. So good to see all the familiar faces, ಇನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಕು ಸೌಂಡ್. Hello, good morning. Okay, good. So first of all, congratulations. Right. How does it feel? Hmm? Feels great. No? Why? That's fine. Those who have cleared. So I think almost everyone sitting here has cleared, right? Good. So now the actual process starts for interview preparation. And so what have you done so far since you wrote mains? So you have prepared DAP, okay. What about others? Newspapers, good. So much of news nowadays, right? It is difficult to digest all the news, diversity of news. So let me start with some of the mistakes that I have seen aspirants committing, right? So I'll start from what happens in the interview room, the mistakes, and what are the expectations from the panel, and especially when I have conducted one-on-one mocks, some of the mistakes that I have identified that result in me telling them that it is difficult for you to score 190 plus, right? Or for some of people I have told outrightly that you are a 200 plus candidate, 190 plus candidate, and for some of them I had told you could score highest marks this year, right? So the two sides of the spectrum, like what results in scoring less marks in the interview, and what qualities that if you display in the interview room that would get you 200 plus marks, right? So let us start with the negative aspect of it. So when candidates come for mock interview, right? So some of them come with certain expectations, right? Some of them come without expectations also. So when somebody comes with expectations, what are those expectations, right? So I am about to conduct mock interview. So you are walking in there, right? So now the expectation is that you have prepared according to certain criteria, right? Maybe you would have covered your optional thoroughly. You would have put dancing, painting as your hobby, and on that you have prepared certain material, right? And then sports, hobbies, and everything. There are keywords in your DAP, and according to those keywords, you have prepared certain content. So now the expectation is that questions could be based on what you have prepared, right? So this is one expectation that I have seen in people, because instantly when I ask question that is something totally out of the blue, right, they go blank, right, they get unsettled, and they get nervous also sometimes. The second expectation is that they have prepared in their own way of giving answers. Maybe very few people practice in front of mirror, very few people uh, do group discussion as well, like mocks with their fellow aspirants. So they have trained themselves in giving answers in a certain way, and they want to reproduce that way of answering. When they come in the interview panel, they want to repeat the similar way of answering that they have. So what happens is that when I see such candidates, instantly I recognize that the candidate lacks situational awareness, right? What is situational awareness? Presence of mind, right? Adaptability, right? adaptability, especially to unfamiliar situations, unexpected situations, right? Or to certain uncertain circumstances. So they fail to adapt quickly to that kind of circumstances. So first suggestion is that you have to prepare in such a way that you have to be flexible, you have to be adaptable, you should strengthen that situational awareness. No matter what is the situation in that moment, you need to have that plasticity, you need to adapt quickly and show certain intelligence. You have to be smart, right? This particular quality is lacking in most of the candidates because of the expected or expectations or the expected way they prepare, right? Because people are guided, you cover your like home district, you prepare on home district certain things. So your hobby is this, so you prepare certain questions and prepare on these things. But in the real interview is not driven by what is there in the DAP, just it is mostly driven by one's innate curiosity, right? The curiosity of the board. The board is not just, why is it curious? The board is curious to know more about you, but why? To assess the suitability of you for the job, right? So the curiosity is driven by an intent to assess your suitability for the job. Now, your suitability for the job should be evident both in your body language as well as in your words, the words you speak, right? But it doesn't merely stop at that, right? It is not just the words that you speak, but the intent behind your words, the depth of it, and also, I say the two Ds. One is diversity and depth. What you say, multidimensionality in your answer. So diversity of ideas, diversity of thoughts in your answer, as well as depth. So these two are the indicators of, right, how well you have not prepared, how well you have understood, right? So there is reading, there is learning, and there is understanding, right? So in interview, it is not about knowing stuff, learning stuff, it is only about the understanding. So how well you have understood everything related to your DAP and everything related to whatever you have prepared so far, and also whatever you have experienced in your life. So through case studies, let us say that you have put, you were the school captain, right? So in your residential school, it can be Kendriya Vidyalaya, or it can be Navodaya Vidyalaya or Sainik school, right? So now, based on your experience of you being when you were school captain, right? There can be a totally a situational question. Let us say that, yeah, so a school kid, in your school, maybe a kid studying in 7th or 8th standard has committed suicide in your school because of, we don't know the reason, right? So you are the school captain at that time, right? Now it is a grave situation for the school authorities and everyone. So what are your responsibilities? How would you respond, So what are your duties in that moment? So what would be your answer? So where does your mind go? Like, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? So where will you highlight the issue of mental health? Hmm? So what is the immediate duty, immediate responsibility? So you are the school captain. Good. Right. So your answer is academic, right? Suddenly mental health, you are focusing on the larger issue, which is good. That should be part of your answer, but that should not be immediate answer. Parents, like you imagine, it's about the school, for the school authorities to do, right? Maybe later when they come and talk to you, you can do something. But the immediate thing is to The children in your school might have got scared, right? Especially the smaller kids, let us say the 5th to 7th standard kids, right? So, and then other kids. So, how are you going to keep them together, discipline them or something? Something related to a very practical nature of that particular situation, right? So, that is what I was talking about. So, now when we talk about depth and diversity in this particular answer, so the depth is related to your understanding of the particular issue. Now, she talked about mental health. Later on, you can bring all those dimensions about the stressful situation, about there may be other dimensions to it. We don't know the reason. Maybe molestation or sexual offense, right? Or maybe ragging by other students. So exploring the various aspects of that particular issue, right? So you have to be very brief, you have to be very quick, and every word you speak should carry certain weight, right? So ensure that there are no unnecessary words spoken in your answer. Now to develop this situational awareness, I mean to develop this, what do we call, like plasticity or adaptability or strong presence of mind. So we need to have little bit, you know, uh, how do I put it? Kind of unorganized way of preparation, right? Little bit chaos in your preparation, not in a very straightforward, expected way of preparation, right? So the another, I'll come to that part later. So another mistake that I've seen the candidates making, when they come for the mock interview, especially from Karnataka, those who are born and brought up in Karnataka, right? Now we have this problem. We are English medium students, but we don't speak English much, right? So now you are good at writing English. You are good in understanding, comprehending everything with respect to English. So when it comes to sudden, like speaking, somewhere you don't practice that outside the classroom or outside that particular room. So you are so used to your mother tongue and you carry the same thing to the interview room as well. So now what happens is that you have thoughts in your head, right? But when you use the language which is not coherent, right, which lacks certain standard vocabulary, the message is lost in the way you are communicating. So ensure that there are like 2 to 3 tips given for this, right? One is reading out loud editorials. I mean, this is for everyone. Even if your English is really good, so reading out loud editorial actually helps in front of the mirror. Second one, you need to record your own voice in English. I mean, that is the medium of, right? So record your answer. For example, let us say that today there is a news, Mahua Moitra disqualified, right? So now there can be a straightforward question. So what is your, do you think it was ethical on the ethics committee to oust Mahua Moitra, right? So you can give your answer in 30-40 seconds, right? And record that answer. Maybe better is video recording so that you can observe your facial expression, right? So are you calm while giving the answer? Are there any certain variations? So better to record and then listen back that answer without fail. Because when you start loving your own voice, right, your own way of giving answers, so that is when you have, kind of achieved that natural way of speaking, both whether it is interview or outside interview. So sometimes I don't like, sometimes. So when I go back and, when accidentally my children play my videos on, our TV, YouTube. Right, yeah, when they open YouTube, so in my account, my videos also come. So then I suddenly, change the video. So I don't feel like, especially listening to my own voice. I don't know what about singers and all. I don't know, but So you have to start liking it, right? So earlier I used to do video, I used to take like 10 rehearsals, just to do 1 minute, 2 minute videos. So like first few videos like hate like anything. Then final video you would like it because it is watchable, it is somehow you can see it. So you have to practice it actually. So it really helps you a lot to overcome. Some people will be conscious, right, while being in the interview room, and they're conscious of others watching them, judging them, right? So to overcome that, to be very natural, you have to record your own answer and see it. And when you record and see your answer, see that are you using unnecessary words? Are you using unnecessary pauses like like people drag a lot while giving their answers? Third, see, are you impressed with your own answer? That sometimes what happens is that when you are in that flow of thoughts, right? When the best, when you are thinking really deep, the answer comes out really well, unexpectedly. The good words, choice of words will be good, and some of the ideas that you had read long ago, but now it seems you have forgotten, suddenly comes out. So see that is your answer of that nature. If it is not like that, try to do it again, right? And the third most important aspect is group discussion, right? Intense brainstorming is very much required. Maybe you can make group of 4, 5, 6 people, right? But you need to brainstorm. It's okay to dominate, it's okay to face certain, in group discussion all the things happen. But try to be at your best and try to extract, try to bring out and prepare and come also, right? Maybe you can, today you can talk about discussing certain current affairs related to the parliament session, whatever issues that have happened. So you can have set of issues, take up one issue, and you can have, last class I discussed about 3 types of questions, right? So you can prepare questions on the basis of these 3 types. One is totally factual questions, right? Totally factual question, like what kind of questions? What is this ethics committee? Who are all the members of this ethics committee, right? Second one is opinion based questions. So the question is seeking to elicit your direct opinion. So what is your opinion? Yes or no? And ensure there is a some confusion with respect to opinion questions, right? So my suggestion is that you have to show conviction in your answer. Never give both sides of the answer. It's a big mistake that people do, right? Never give that, sir, it has both positives and negative. Never start your answer with, note down this point, it's very important because it irritates like anything when people say that, it has both positives and negatives, it has pros and cons, right? When they ask certain issue, never use that line in the beginning of your answer. Show, if the issue is really vague and you haven't understood, then you can say that I need to think about it, I haven't made up my mind, something like that. But never start with your answer both sides. So directly say that, yes sir, I do believe that the decision that was taken was wrong, or if you believe that it was right. And now how do you know that with which opinion you need to go, wrong or right? So for that, the formula, that very simple formula is that you have to, while doing group discussion or while writing and practicing, see that with which opinion you can justify endlessly or justify for really long, like when the argument is going on. So ensure that your reasoning is sound, right? The reasoning should not be, again, sometimes people try to give emotional justification, right? That is not the reasoning part. The reasoning is always backed by your logic, right? Other justification, there may be a precedence, there may be a court case, there may be an example in some part of the world in the past. So ensure that, like for example, Mahua Moitra, like expelling her was right. If you really believe that it was right, right, and then you have like 4 to 5 strong justifications, go with it, because they will counter every answer, every point you might give, they would counter, and they would like to test your conviction, your belief, the sound defense that you are going to make. And if the defense is really strong till the end, so most of the cases I have seen such one or two answers turn everything in your favor. So 190 plus or 200 plus, it is those questions. And nowadays, like last year, I saw that 3-4 members would love such kind of games, in the interview, trying to test how strongly you believe in your opinion. And if they notice that if you are either trying to please them, right, through your answer, and we try to please them because when we go with certain biases, right, so we think that they are ideologically inclined with something, and then we might try to please them. So please don't do this, right? Whatever your opinion, just go with it. So earlier it used to be the case, but now what I learned is that as long as your reasoning is strong, your defense is strong, I think your opinion is respected, right? So don't go under. But there are certain few issues during the mock interviews, so we will tell you few issues where you may have to have certain opinion even though you may not agree with it, right? So earlier, like when so many sensitive issues were going on, like during COVID, post-COVID, there were some bills and all, agri bills, CAA, and the hijab issue and all. So now, what are the sensitive issues that we have currently? Hmm? For that, you can go either yes or no, so not an issue. Hmm? Apart from that, hmm? Example? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm. No, those are fine, I think. When the issues are related to religion, when the issues are related to one's identity, something like that. So then you may have to be not careful, but see that, when you are going to be part of the government, so what kind of defense you need to have for it, right? The third mistake that, what people commit when they come and start giving interview is that they are not prepared for the counter questions or the follow-up questions, right? So they give one answer, right? Now if I ask another follow-up question related to the another dimension, right? So what happens is that again it stems from the first mistake, expected way of. So there is expectation that you need to know the other dimensions of the issue and interlinkages also. So the interlinkages in the sense that, for example, let us say that we are asking a question. Any example? Hamas. Okay, let us say take the issue of Khalistan, right? So now what are the dimensions from which you read the issue of Khalistan? What are the dimensions you can think? When you take up the issue of Khalistan issue, when you start reading about it, hmm? Okay, good. So I'll ask a sample question, right? Now, what is the relationship between culture and development? It's nothing related with Khalistan. There is an issue of culture and there is an issue of development. So how both are related? Can you give me the relationship between culture and development? Suddenly it becomes abstract, right? Now if I ask question about culture, if I keep asking questions about culture, right? So you will have certain points and other things. Now suddenly, that's what I meant by interlinkages. Suddenly I'm linking with another aspect of our life, or the economy or society, that is very much crucial. So now what is the link between, or what is the relationship between culture, one's culture, so country's culture and development? Now give me the relationship, give me statements, give me ideas. No, that is implied, right? Now you have to give me, the actual relationship, how it is related. Hmm. Good. Now, how do you put it in like 10 seconds? So your point is really good, but how are you? So because the point is good because there is an idea of cohabitation, that is part of the culture, right? That idea is embedded, and then you are linking that with the nature of the development, how it is inclusive, maybe in the sense that within their culture, or how it is innovative. Like let us say that why Israelis are more innovative compared to other cultures. What is unique about their culture that makes their technological development or even economic development unique or innovative. Hmm? Hmm. Again, like don't explain. So in interview answers, don't explain. So your explanation is understood, right? Behind that explanation, there is an idea, right? Bring out that idea and put it as a statement. So how are you going to put it? So development brings cultural inclusivity. Example. So first, like example, let us say both are based on your answers. Let us say that make a statement. So the nature of culture has direct bearing on the nature of development. Let us say the nature of culture. Like for example, cohabitation can result in something, and also you can talk about nature of development also has bearing. Like if it is too much capitalism driven, right? Like what is the impact on the culture? So both way you can talk about. And when we talk about Indian culture, there is like so much diversity in Indian culture. Now this diversity that is there in Indian culture helps Indian development in a way that we have diversity of ideas, like diversity of opinions, right? That makes our development more resilient or more inclusive, right? Or more democratic, something like that, right? And then you can take another example of another culture. Like let us say that there are certain discriminatory practices within a culture, right? There are certain what is regressive or practices within our culture. How that hinders, like something related to women. Within culture, you bring the dimension of the women. So then you link that with the development. A culture that is more receptive or gives more prominence to or give more roles to women, and how that is linked with the development or something like that, right? So that is the issue now. Now when we discuss leisurely or when you are discussing in a group, you can come up with more ideas. Now, when I ask that question in an interview room or when the panel asks that question, so within 1 minute you have to synthesize, right? You have to synthesize an answer. So based on your understanding, and then again you have to bring the interlinkages. Now the question tries to elicit that linkage, right? By bringing two different concepts. Now if somebody can do that on their own in their answers for a totally different question, so that is 200 plus, right? Question may not be directly related, right? But if they show that ability of interlinking concepts, right? So that actually that is what I meant by depth and diversity in a simple words. So that comes from you know two things. One, you have to keep an open mind whenever you learn, right? Keep an open mind with lots of curiosity. We restrict our learning, right, to certain extent, thinking that we are going too deep or something. but you should know which issue you need to go deeper. For example, Khalistan you mentioned, Hamas you mentioned. Let us say that you have put IFS as your first choice or PSIR as your optional. So Hamas or Palestine issue, you need to really show lots of depth in your answer. So even if you haven't put these two, showing depth is not going to harm you. So whatever that is coming in the current affairs, right? So show lots of inquisitiveness, learn all the dimensions of it, and try to diversify your resources. So I have suggested, like, in the past, reading EPW, right? Economist magazine, The Economist, EPW Economist. Frontline I won't suggest because it's too biased, right? Frontline don't read. Maybe weekly magazines like The Week, India Today, right? Read them also. Never read like the current affairs prepared by coaching institutions, including ours for UPSC interview. So don't follow them, don't stop doing them, right? So you need to take the standard sources, the original sources. These are in addition to daily 3 newspapers, the Hindu, Indian Express, Live Mint or Business Standard. It's okay to spend, like 5-6 hours on these things every day. Now you don't have anything else to do, right? 5-6 hours, these sources. What happens is that you will be in a position to, if not authoritatively to speak, but with confidently to speak on any issue. Because when you have learned so many aspects of that particular issue, you are prepared to face any nature of question on that particular issue, right? And because you have learned from diverse sources and through practice of recording and group discussion, you will be in a position to synthesize that kind of answer. Adding to this, my suggestion is that you when is the interview going to start? Any idea? Late January, right? So you have around 1.5 months, 2 months, 1.5 months. What? So my suggestion is that have a reading list, at least 5 to 10 books, minimum 5, maximum 10 books you must read, right? And these books must be based on your hobbies and interests that you are going to put, right? For example, I don't know, like when the DAF is opening, today itself it's open. So we'll briefly discuss that, right? Yeah, so we'll come to that. Now let us say the hobbies part. Have you all decided? 3 distinct hobbies must be there. Distinct, right? So give me, areas to think about, as I said, be curious about, to ask questions, right? It should be like distinct. Let us say that one is something related to artificial intelligence. You are really keen on artificial intelligence, like ChatGPT you haven't just used, right? You've read lots of articles, how it works, what are the mathematical models that drive ChatGPT. So why it is evolving fast, right? So why Microsoft has acquired, or like why, how does it help Microsoft, right? So how did it result in another competition like Google came up with? Now there was ouster of its CEO, right? ChatGPT. So it's not just the technological dimension, like you're curious about the people behind it, the business behind ChatGPT, and also its implications for creativity, right? How the ChatGPT is going to impact human creativity in the future, and how is it going to impact businesses around the world, right? So when you have this big tech, right, using or spending lots on artificial intelligence, how is it going to impact other businesses, right? And again, interlinkages, how is it going to impact governments, right? So we had this Cambridge Analytica when we didn't have advanced version of AI. Now we have the phenomena of deep fake, we have phenomena of creating, so the opinions. Earlier internet would create content, now it can come up with opinions and attribute that opinion to any individual. So those who are in power or even common people. Now all these dimensions you can put it as one hobby, right? Something related to like curious about or learning about evolving nature of AI or implications of AI. Be specific about it. Don't just put artificial intelligence, right? Reading about artificial intelligence. Just don't put, because now it has so many components, artificial intelligence. So choose one specific and gain lots of depth in that. Now I said 3 distinct. It can be more than 3, but 3 to 4 is fine. Another one, some totally unrelated to, you can relate later, but now something related to nature, environment, ecology, animal behavior, right? So you can choose one area, and another could be something related to economy, like stock trading, right? Reading about trends in global economy, right? Or like developmental economics, something like that, right? Or role of women in economy. You can be too specific about it, or something related to women issues also. So choose any 3 such hobbies, interests. I believe you already possess, you already have those kind of interests, right? It is just that you have to properly think about it, segregate, we put them in words, which is this particular hobby I'm really passionate about it, so I can learn endlessly. The reason is that out of 5 members, they will naturally become curious. So when you say something related to artificial intelligence or development economy, these are just because they easily occur to my mind, I'm giving these examples. All right. So you check your own, what search history, or your own Twitter feed or your Facebook feed, right? Or even Instagram also, they have like technology related, reels and everything, right? So you may be more inclined to watch reels related to, let's say, space exploration, space technology. So you think about it, do some introspection, right? And put them across. So you can have certain different combinations of words, to see when you are putting these words, who are the people reading these words? When the DAF. So their experience far exceeds your own life, your age, right? And the experience that they have got is from diverse sectors, right? Maybe academics. If they are an IAS officer, so many departments, they have read things, and their thinking level is at a higher level than yours currently. So when they see that, if you have to make them curious, right? Or if you have to make them more interested in your personality, so ensure that it is intelligently put. So they will certainly pick up those words and they start asking questions. And as I said, if you have read different dimensions of the issue, the questions can be anything and they can interlink. For example, you have done, let us say that MSc biotechnology, and here you are putting something related to space technology, that your interest is in space technology. Now I will link biotechnology with space technology. I want to ask a question related to that. Have you thought in that direction? You have done masters in biotechnology, which means you have written thesis, you have written n number of assignments and everything, right? So your knowledge is deeper. Now, were you able to link that with the any aspect of space technology? So how do I link? What could be the question that comes up? Something related to the food that is can be consumed in this space, or later when we colonize Mars, right? So what is the nature of food? So can we grow plants? Can we, using biotechnology tools, can we do something there, right? Ensure food security there, something, or maybe related to microbes, right? So, or the mutants or something. If we find life, or even if we don't find life, can we put life there through some genetic engineering of certain microbes or something, right? You got the point. So the question can be based on what you have written in different areas of your DAB. So now let us say that you put IPS as your first choice. Let us say that the government of India is going to choose you as first experimental astronaut for the Mars mission. Would you agree to go volunteer? Even if it is not IPS, like IPS because it's uniform service, right? They usually pick people from armed forces, may not be from, I don't think they'll pick anyone from IPS. So what would be your answer? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, for the sake of interview, or huh? It's a lifetime opportunity to either become martyr or so it's a lifetime opportunity, right? Either way to become famous. Good. Of course, you have to go with this. So then they won't ask, but I'm just asking, like, what about IAS and IPS? Right. So the let us say, I'll be honest with you, right? We are having a conversation. When a candidate comes and sits in front of me, one thing I see, within 5 minutes, I know that this candidate has something, right? So they are unique. They are unique in the sense that not in terms of social behavior, right? In terms of the way they think, right? The quickness in their thinking. So I ask a question, I know that this question is difficult or something that the candidate would have never thought about it, right? They are able to muster, they are able to compose themselves and suddenly come up with a new perspective, right? Maybe sometimes people start with vague, generalistic answer, but immediately they find the best idea they can think of and then they say it, right? So it is very few people who can do this. Secondly, the way they put it maturely, the matured way of talking, right? The way they use the words and the what do you say, the natural way. They are not pretending, right? They are not pretending. There is no pretension, right? There is an English word for that. When somebody doesn't pretend, they they are natural best, right? And third, you feel like you can speak to them endlessly, right? So you don't feel difficult to ask them questions. So you can ask questions, you can keep asking them anything. They may give answer, they may not give answer, but it is giving you confidence that the candidate can think something or be honest about not knowing the answer also. And what I noticed is that when they say I don't know, or when they say they don't know the answer, we don't even what remember, we don't even consider it. You're getting the point. It is so natural, as part of the conversation we just pass it. Okay, fine. I don't judge because they don't know something. I don't even judge them because some of their answers has already made me believe that, so it's natural, not to know everything. Some people make it a big issue when they don't know, right? So either it is visible in their next answer because they're still thinking about the answer they couldn't give in the previous, or when they are saying I don't know, on the face it is visible because they are nervous, or they feel that I am under the compulsion to give answer to every question. So last year, before last year, one of our employees who got very good rank, so I told them one line. I don't know why he was impressed with that particular line. So I told them that when I am interviewing you, I am not judging you based on individual question. So there is no mark for individual question the way you write in mains. In mains, for every answer there is a marks. So here it is not at all like that. I'm not judging you based on individual question. It is about the overall experience, overall impression that you are going to give. The assessment, in the beginning you are making an impression, but the assessment happens in the end. The answer could be the last question as well. So till that, your moment will be there, your chance will be there. So you have to be present, you have to be natural, and you should know that it is perfectly natural not to give answer or not to know an answer to any question. So you should never think about it. And when we prepare, we prepare with the mindset that we need to know answer to all the questions. Stems from our mains and the prelims preparation. So that kind of preparation you have to do away with. That is why I said unorganized, a little bit chaos. It's okay to leave out something, not to know something, not to answer certain questions. So another thing is that I had given the example of Jaydev in the last few interview sessions. So he had lots of answers to give, lots of content to give, but he used to be verbose, right? So some people are intelligent, some people know answers, but because of he used to be in debating activities, lots of debating. So the answers used to be long and the answers used to be intimidating, right? So they were like overpowering in the interview room, like so much of content, so much of unwanted sentences and all. So then I had to cut unnecessary, I had to tone him down and I had to tell him that his thoughts were really good, really deep, but restrict to certain key ideas, right? So after that I haven't found such candidates, In Delhi few I found, but in Bangalore it is the other way. Like we have to tell them to develop that ability to develop the depth. But without developing the depth also, sometimes we use unnecessary words. So as I said earlier, while practicing you have to eliminate. So one quality these candidate displays that you feel so comfortable, welcoming when you are talking to them. I have noticed that like with some candidates 15-20 minutes seems too long. 15-20 minutes seems too long. I want this to end, this particular mock. With some candidates, even 40 minutes or 45 minutes seems too short, right? So you got carried away with that kind of. So how do you develop that, right? You have like very short duration. Are you like that? Anyone? Hmm? I'll ask another question. Just simple question. Hmm? So it goes back to the other question. So okay, what is the relationship between freedom and democracy? Very simple question. What is the relationship between freedom and democracy? So another question, uh, capitalism and democracy. What is the relationship between capitalism and democracy? So what about first question? No, don't explain. Don't explain the concept. The question is relationship between freedom and democracy. Hmm. Hmm? Yes. Choice. Okay. Put it as a line. Put it as a statement. Okay. Hmm. 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 Okay.
Democracy is freedom in the political system, and capitalism is freedom in the economy.
Good. But okay, that is another question. Capitalism and democracy, like freedom and democracy.
Democracy is offshoot of having freedom. Freedom to be with respect to expressing things, with respect to having their own way of life and having a more inclusive society.
Okay. Then
Democracy is the means of freedom in the end.
so we got two answers. One said it's a foundation for democracy, freedom, and you are saying democracy is the means to achieve freedom. Freedom is the end. Okay. Then. Hmm? Both are means. You know, freedom is means to achieve democracy. Okay. Then is freedom innate to democracy? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. So what does our constitution say with respect to freedom and democracy? Hmm? There are so many freedoms, no? Rights and freedoms. Hmm? Hmm? Hmm. So when you have lots of freedom, how does it impact democracy? Hmm? Strengthens democracy. Can lead to mobocracy, can be detrimental. Then freedom is a personal choice and democracy is okay. Hmm. You're not saying anything. Hmm? Chandini. Huh? So she has all the freedom to say anything here. Huh? Okay. So what determines one's, as you said, one's individual freedom? What kind of democracy determines? Hmm? Now, what type of democracy? Like we have representative democracy, we have electoral democracy, we have hmm, participative democracy. So, what determines one's degree of freedom? What kind of democracy? So, what is the ideal level of freedom that we need to achieve, or what is the ideal nature of democracy that one need to achieve? Right. See, these two concepts are not abstract. You can write 1200 word essay on democracy. Freedom, you can write 1200 word essay if they are separately given. Now, suddenly when I bring, so one said earlier, the freedom is foundation of democracy, and one said that democracy is also required to achieve freedom, and then means, right? So it goes on and on, right? Now the why I brought up this issue is that so there are certain candidates who can really think fast, right? The reason is that they have prepared like that, not for the exam, they are like that, because of their hobbies and interests. Those who have read good amount of books, right? It can be any genre, it can be fiction, non-fiction, anything. So their thinking is fast and diverse, right? But again, it's not guaranteed. They should have, there are people who read but never talk about it, right? Would have never participated in any activities, extracurricular. So it is not guaranteed that they are always good in that. But if you have read books, or if you can read books and really do the brainstorming and come up with these things, the answers will be impressive. And mind that in real interview such questions are not asked, right? The reason I am asking question is that, as I said earlier, if you remember, as part of your answer, right, that nature should be evident, right? Very rarely they will ask such kind of questions, interlinking, two totally different concept, but thinking in that direction, right? Cultivating that kind of thinking. So, that there are like three types of thinking I talked about in this: critical thinking, analytical thinking, or creative thinking, right? So that should be evident in every answer. So coming to DAF, please take it very, very seriously. If the DAF is not good, the DAF is not sound, it is difficult to start conversation with you, and the interview will go, I don't know in which direction it will go. Mostly factual. It will go mostly factual, or like totally random question. So today, like till what date you have this? Till Friday. So another 4-5 days? 6 days. Today is 9th. 6 days. So don't be in a hurry to fill it. The number of people who have put filling DAF is very low. There won't be any server issues, right? But think a lot. Think in such a way that explore entire your life, from childhood to present, all the activities that you have done, all the education that you have got, and as part of UPSC preparation, the new interest that you have developed, right? So make exhaustive list of everything. For example, you would have been extremely good at painting when you were in school days. You would have left totally, but still put it painting, right? So you might have been good in crafts, you might have good in sports, right? Or you creative writing or something. You would have left it right now. You may not be doing it, but still list each and every achievement, extracurricular, your interest and everything. And now when it comes to the three hobbies or interests, they are not hobbies, they are basically interests. So I mentioned, so you go through the syllabus, right? So subtopics of the syllabus. See like which is the topic that is really you are passionate about, very interesting. So even them also you list exhaustively. It can be 5 such things, 10 such things, and then you can filter out 3 of them based on how well you can prepare on them. You are not lying here, you are not dishonest. They are your interest. It is just like you are giving a more organized test to these interests. I am not talking about organized preparation, only to these interests. You are choosing 3 of them, you are trying to develop them. You are trying to cultivate, right? Even more deeper. So choose such 3, because if that is not there, if you have merely put like watching cricket, right, freestyle dancing, and another swimming, or in general like reading books, right? So it is difficult to start conversation. As I said, think about the panel, right? I don't think they are very much interested in freestyle dancing. They may ask for this sake of asking question, 1 or 2 questions, right? But they cannot push themselves to ask some artificial question on that. Instead, if these are issue oriented, something related to what? So it's human life, something related to the world affairs, then it will be more interesting. So can you give me examples? Has anyone such hobbies? 2, 3. So don't crowd your DAP also. Like it should be very crisp. So what is his name? Akshay Simha, he got 215 in interview. He got All India rank 77. He got Indian Foreign Service, right? So he had mentioned 2 or 3 things. One, he had written a few articles to newspapers. He had mentioned that in his hobbies and intersection, right? And I think reading Kannada novels or something with specific authors, right? 2, 3 authors he had named. I think I remember these 2 hobbies of him, right? Avinash, who got 198, like, tasting coffee or something, that was one hobby. And something related to particular reading, I don't know which genre or which topics he had written, legal writing, I think, legal blogging about legal issues, right? That was another, and there was one more, like 3 only. So he had brought the huge list, stuck down everything. We restricted to 3, something which could, elicit, as I said, interest or curiosity. Give examples. What, Bharat? Fintech, very good, good. Hmm? Wine tasting, good. Hmm. What do you call collection of coins? Hmm? Numismatics. In the, hmm. Reading about gut tissues, gut biology or gut microbe. Hmm? Hmm? Madhubani painting, yes. Shashi. Hmm? Caring, caring stray dogs and playing chess. You need to add 2, 3 more. Gun shooting and experimental cooking. Figure out 2 more, right? Never put agriculture, farming, hmm? Right? So that is another problem, like I know that you are a farmer, you have farming background, but putting just agriculture, farming, coconut farming, hmm? and grape farming, they've all scored less than 150 or 160. Hmm? Be very careful. Like, see, I don't have to talk about the importance of interview. Every mark counts, and especially if it is 190 plus, it is sure shot IAS or IPS. Journey ends, right? And there is a way to score 190 plus in this interview. Right? It all depends on by how many marks you missed your rank. 6 marks. Interview, how much did you score? 168. So how are you this year? I mean, how is your preparation? Now, in terms of interview. Correct. The communication is good. It used to be very narrow. I remember your answer. As you said, theoretical and correct. It was not like very natural, and you were so speaking more, interacting with more number of people. Working as yoga instructor. No, you can put them, okay. But so you think about what are the questions that I can start asking about them. Good, good. What about you, Govind? Hmm? Behavior economics, good. This one, what is that language? Maithili, yes, yes. So you took Maithili literature, right, this year? Good. You did maths or this? Physics, right? Economics, earlier you had economics. And you did mathematics or you had mathematics? You did mathematics and you were here. Congratulations. What about your hobby? Promenading. Promenading is strolling. What is the promenading? So is it the formal word used, promenading? Because promenade is, the city spaces that where people go for walk. Okay. Hmm. Still, think about one more. What about you? Like example, spiritual books. Hmm. No, non-fiction, be specific. What kind of non-fiction? Hmm. Okay. Who's Amitav Ghosh? No. Hmm. 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 Writing on social issues. Journaling. Writing where? Blog or what? Diary. In your notebook. See, be specific about non-fiction. Choose a genre, right? And so all of you need to rethink. They're not exciting. Non-fiction is fine. I'm not talking about based on my personal interest, right? So mind that I'm not talking about my personal. I'm thinking from the board's perspective, and it has really worked really well. So three distinct something related to what you've really done, something related to what you are really interested in a deeper way. So they are important in the sense that you can talk really passionately when we keep asking questions. So usually what happens in a really good interview, right? So there are 5 members. So when I am taking mock interview, at least 5 to 10 minutes goes for only one issue. I mean, one issue we are covering all the dimensions, 5 to 10 minutes. So because the candidate is able to talk, you know, various aspects, various dimensions about that, and my source of my question is always your answer, right? So it results in a good conversation. I don't have to look at your DAF and think hard about framing a question. So the source of question is your answer itself, right? So to do that, you should have because for example when you say that like Purandara Das Kirtana, now I should be knowing about. I can start with a general question like differentiate between Purandara Dasa Kirtana and Kanaka Dasa Kirtana or something. What is the nature of difference, right? And then what question I can ask? Like, okay, why did like he says father of Carnatic music? So why? Like, what attributes of his music resulted in origin of Carnatic music or something, right? Or like has Carnatic music deviated from the original, something like that. So I can ask, but again it depends on your answer, and I should be knowing something about it, right? And usually these people in board will be knowing something about what you have actually put. At least one of them will be knowing. If they are knowing, then the nature of questions will be even more deeper, exploratory in nature, right? To check whether you are you really passionate about it. So that is why it is better to choose three distinct things and devote your 60-70% of time in a day for further developing them, thinking about them, right? Discussing about them, and 30-40% of time for, as I said, newspapers. Spend like good 12 hours every day, 5 to 6 hours for newspapers, remaining for hobbies. What about you? Fundamental? Mm-hmm. Only one. Oh, anyway, that is part of your achievements. But what about hobbies? Out of only one. Hmm? What about others? What? Human origin and evolution. Okay. Hmm. Has anyone written letters to newspaper, letter to editor? Nobody has written. Do you have anyone strong reading habit of magazines? Like as I said, EPW and other magazines. No. Do you watch documentaries like specific genre, like documentaries related to, let us say, there are democracy related to dictators, democracy, like political systems, democracy related to them, and there are historical documentaries, right? So that is one area you can explore. There are so many genres. Choose one based on your interest, right? Political documentaries or historical documentaries, documentaries like conspiracy related documentaries are there, right? And then anything specific to India also you can choose, specific to Indian art and culture, right? It can be documentaries or it can be books, right? Maximum three, maximum three, right? So one strategy is to show less in your DAV and show more in your answers, right? Create less expectation, but exceed that expectation in the course of interview. That is better, right? So what I've seen is that some people who there was this one girl, okay, she got ranked last year. Before that year, she couldn't. She had achieved so much, right? She put so many things, the DAF was. So I try to say that remove this, remove that. She had actually done them. It was like too much of it. She scored 155 or something, 151 or 155. Next year she reduced it to 3, right? Very small thing. I think she improved to score 180 plus, not 190 plus or something, but she was able to justify, right? So that DAF was underwhelming, but the answers were, I think, slightly better than the. So I think that strategy you need to adopt. But that doesn't mean putting only one, I think. One more. Yeah, right now you have only one. Yeah. It can be only two also, right? But they need to be distinct. Other nodi takshana we have to, be curious. Like coffee tasting, you had mentioned, like, or like you mentioned wine tasting. I don't know anything about coffee tasting, but I'm just curious. Like I'll ask a scientific perspective, what makes coffee taste different, right? From one variety to another variety. Any doubts? You can ask your doubts. Huh? You can start new and develop it, but it is risky. I don't think you can achieve that required depth in that. Mhm. Leadership, it can be class representative, right? Anything related to schools and colleges, right? So that they have mentioned leadership. So it can be class representative, school captain, school cricket, like sports captain. So all those things, wherever you are in leadership role, you can mention that. You can leave anything empty. So there is no strict rule. You can leave empty. You can leave empty. Graduation subject, not in depth. When it comes to graduation subject, the uh, the basics of it. Which is your graduation subject? Business. What about you? What? Automobile engineering. Okay. Any others? Like those who have done chemistry, botany, zoology? No? Most of you are engineers only. Right. The basics of automobile engineering or basics of business administration. Hmm. See, when you are gold medalist or whether even if you are not gold medalist, they are more interested in knowing whether your basics are sound, strong. They ask very basic questions, the basic concepts. So people can impress in the advanced section, but when it comes to basics, so you need to be good in that. So brush up the basics. Don't need to go in depth with respect to your optional, right? So automobile engineering, like what are the basic? Like what are the 3 laws of thermodynamics? Can you say it now? Hmm? Every What is entropy? So that's what basics, right? So how does transmission work? Manual. What is the difference between manual transmission and automatic transmission? No, that I know. Like the question is, how does it work? Hmm? What is ABS? How does it work? Hmm. So one is basics and second one is the its application in day-to-day world. So let's say business admin, I don't know anything about it. So its application, what we hear, what we see every day, corporate governance, or insider trading or some. No, 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 no. Link it to your own, right? So the basic concepts and their application for a general well-read person, what you might have read in day-to-day newspaper related to your discipline. If they are asking that question, so which is seen in the news, right? So those two areas you need to be good at. So don't go into the technicalities of it. No need to, like for example, people with mathematics optional and those who had put artificial intelligence as a hobby had asked this question, okay, what is the mathematical model that is used in chat GPT, right? So they hadn't read about it. Now I had Googled and asked that question, right? I don't know like anything about it. So, but I was curious, like, if you have mathematics and then chat GPT, you're putting artificial intelligence, you should know about it, right? Work experience, yeah, this is another area, like don't be false about it, right? Whatever you have really done, put that and don't create work experience right now, right? No, don't be dishonest. It's okay to have a gap, depend it. Just say like, see, that question will never be asked to a person, as I said, the candidate who can really answer really well. So lots of depth, the personality is so solid, so matured. I will never ask this question like, why didn't you work anywhere, right? Why did you leave your job? Or why you don't have post-grad, nothing. These questions we will never ask. Or what is unique about your home district? We will never ask that because this candidate can think differently, right? So their analytical, critical thinking is so sound that my questions will be more of analytical in nature. So show that ability in the very beginning itself, right? So that is why it is okay to be very honest. And if you don't have any work experience, put it as 0, and don't put like NGO teaching this and that here and there. It is suicidal. Working in. Hmm. You have to know in and out, especially case studies, right? Your role there and different case studies, you need to be aware of it, and the government rules, policies, regulations, everything related to the department, you should know about it. In depth, you should know. Work experience in depth, whichever area you have worked in the past or you are working currently, in depth you should know about it, right? No, never put that. Yeah, you asked that question. In your DAF, nowhere mention any coaching institution. Nowhere mention that you worked as evaluator, content creator, teacher, right, in some coaching institutions. My personal suggestion. Hmm? Hmm? Are you earning from it? Then put it as hobby or something, but don't mention the word current affairs. Hmm? Right. but not as work. It's okay to leave blank, my suggestion. Hmm? Don't be under the compulsion that it is rewarded. It is not rewarded. As I said, it is the sum of all the experiences, right? So you can totally what compensate, through your answers for anything that is lacking in your DAV. You can compensate through, as I said, your situational awareness, knowledge, presence of mind, intelligence, smartness. So those can totally mask. They won't even look at them. And there are candidates who have actually scored good marks without work experience. Especially coaching institution never mentioned. So I'm what very particular about this, because there was one candidate I had told them not to mention last year, scored low marks. They won't even ask question. They see that, they judge. Introduce yourself is a easy question. So there you have to introduce. Easy question in the sense, what people introduce is that they will start, my name is this, I come from this place, I studied this, I have worked here. So that is not introduce yourself, right? Introduce yourself is something, introducing your personality to them. So tell something that is not there in the DAP. Your name you have to tell definitely, that is formal way of starting it. But after that you talk, like for example, your name I forgot, Aishwarya, Mysore, right? No, Bangalore. So like, sir, I am Aishwarya. No, I'm not thinking about that. Like I'm thinking about, earlier you mentioned about your hobbies, right? So I want to bring that in the beginning. So my name is Aishwarya. I've been like curious kid since, more interested in art and culture. I developed particular interest in Purandara Das Kirtanas. I sing, and I also studied in a college. So if there is something unique about your college, then maybe you can bring that. One of the oldest colleges in Bangalore, right? Uh, then anything you should know about yourself, right? So what is the nature of your personality? Just within 30-40 seconds, give some 3 different dimensions of your personality. It should not be like straightforward, I worked here and there. Make it more organic, right? Conversational. What, Suman? So planning to put evaluator or what? No. No. Good. Most of your have worked at Insights or working at Insights. Hmm? Hmm? It's just the percentage and all. No, nothing. All those things doesn't matter at all. So prepare so holistically, so deeply right now, right? Mm-hmm. You need to get affidavit. Hmm. How will they know that there is a mistake in your name? Hmm. Krukshnappa. It has become K. Your headmaster added that K, extra K in 10. Mm-hmm. And you say you started liking this name, so huh? So they might ask, what is the meaning of? There is no meaning of Krukshnappa. Why didn't you change it? Huh? No, it's okay. Like, just tell the story, right? That your headmaster made a mistake, and then you just went on with the name. Maybe you liked that name. It is unique, right? So you kept it. That's it. So create a lighter moment in the interview. That's it. And they might ask, okay, like if at all you wanted to change, what is the procedure? Right? You should know about it. Or they might ask, can you change your name right now? You can't change. Later you can change. There is a procedure for that. Anybody can change their names. They might ask, will you change after becoming? So my suggestion is change it. Right? After becoming IAS or IPS, right? So immediately change your name. You should change. Then anything else? No, it's okay. They're not an issue. Don't worry about all these small issues. Immediately after your interview will be there. And they will give you other opportunities if there is any issue. They're not. Only issue is the EWS certificate, OBC certificate. Ensure that everything is all right. Right. There is nothing wrong with them. Then there won't be any issue with respect to your final result. Now the interview is just to sum up everything. I don't know how to sum up, right? I don't know, for some reason you are not like passionate and involved in learning, right? You learn, but again with the same mindset of a general UPSC aspirant. So you should totally come out of that mindset. Prepare in such a way that there is no, as if there is no end. You know, we have to be very passionate about it. Learning, understanding, right? I can clearly grade. You know, when somebody is giving answer, okay, 150, 160, 170, and there is 190, and then there is 200 plus. I don't 99% of the candidates for whom I have predicted 190 plus or 200 plus, they have got that kind of marks. 99%. You can easily tell them. So to achieve that, the only way forward, unfortunately, the interview is, of course, it's a personality test, but still it is dominated by the kind of knowledge you display, right? At the end of the day, still it's a test of knowledge, right? Because one can easily grade, like, majority come with knowledge, but mostly superficial. It lacks depth. Some people have achieved that depth. They are because of, it's not the fault of you people. It's the fault of the education system, right? Some colleges will never allow you to do participate in extracurricular activities, right? There is so much competition, so much consumed by your course. So doing assignments, internals with the course, you never participate. Some colleges, as part of the curriculum or something, they allow you to participate and excel. And those candidates actually do really well. Those who have strong extracurriculars, especially in terms of these intellectual things like quiz, debating, writing, all these things, they do well in the interview. So you have a small window of opportunity of, like, let's say 2 months, right? So in those 2 months, read a lot, write a lot, discuss a lot, right? And as I said, make videos. My personal suggestion is open a blog. I give this suggestion every year, but very few people follow it. Open a personal blog, right? Every day write about it. Every day write about whatever you learn. Let us say that you read 4 hours newspaper, WordPress blog, wordpress.com. You open a blog with your name, right? aishwaryasthoughts.wordpress.com, right? So you read something and write like immediately 100, 200 words about. So daily 5 to 6 posts. Daily 5 to 6 posts. And at least, like, 3, 4 recordings. You need to be very ambitious about it, right? Extremely ambitious in terms of putting your effort and, like that constant thinking, the 200 plus level, it can be achieved. And then confidence, you need to have lots of confidence, right? And confidence is directly proportional to depth of your knowledge, depth of your understanding. The more you learn, the more you understand, you are confident. And don't make any mistakes in your DAF. Again, it is inversely proportional, right? Any mistake, it undermines your confidence. Ensure that there are zero mistakes in terms of being honest or dishonest, in terms of factual errors or something. No mistakes in your DAF, because that day, I remember last year, one extremely brilliant girl, right? Her answers were like too good, but she made error in DAF, I think. I mean, that wouldn't have resulted, but the impression definitely was not so good. So in terms of where to put full stop, where to put comma, right? It was not her fault. She didn't verify, how would it look in the preview, and directly submit it. So in your preview, see that every hobby is distinctly put, comma or full stop or colon, whatever character is allowed, right? Some of them are not allowed, or the spacing of it. Ensure that they are like really distinct. One can see three distinct hobbies or interests, right? And the wording of it, no spelling mistake in them, right? So for every word that you are putting, again, for example, learning, the word learning, check spelling and put it, right? Some people write gratitude journaling or something. Example, journaling. What is the spelling? Is there double L or single L? Right? Check for every word. It can be a very simple word. Still check this spelling and ensure that it is free of errors. Right? That is very important, because if I point out any mistake while conducting mock interview in your DAP, that impacts your confidence. Right? You will go with the feeling, what if the board points out this mistake, right? That is one thing. So carefully keep filling it, keep changing, have number of iterations, the combinations, and see what really. So you can take my number and send through WhatsApp. I may not be available directly here. So 99011. I'll definitely respond on WhatsApp. Okay. So you send the screenshot. I'll change the wording. I'll 99011 59780. 99011 59780. So send your DAP, and also you can send the exhaustive list of DAP, the hobbies and all. I'll try to see which three you can develop best. Okay, so wish you all the best. So I will be doing mock interviews once in a week, and mostly on Zoom. Now I have ventured into a different area totally. It is really going on well, right? So I am also writing another exam. Right? Huh? Thank you so much. Huh? What? Be confident. No. I'm extremely confident about it. So I'm confident about getting the ticket and winning also. It will happen. So anyways, the intention of doing it, it is just the natural progression in my life from one to another. As part of ambition, I keep telling Twitter also. I tell people, do things differently, think differently, act differently. Take decisions. Something that brings out the best. Right? Life is full of possibilities and all. So even while being busy in that, I will do this guiding thing. I'll be coming to Delhi also from January. Stay there for a week and conduct mock interviews. Here we will organize panel mocks, right? So from this year we will organize panel mocks, and at the same time our faculties were given like 3-4 interviews. They are also really good. They will also start doing group mocks, right? So give mocks here, wherever you want, wherever you find the suitable boards, right? Just keep giving them, but don't give them without preparation, right? Keep preparing equally well, right? There is no point in giving them, because some people just want to have confidence and they give. There is no point in that. You have to be really good with them. So wish you all the best. I need to rush um, because annual day, no, ticket is not available now. It's so uncertain and difficult journey. Every day you have to struggle a lot, right? The politics is full of ego, arrogance, right? And politicians are full of ego and arrogance, right? Huh? What? That is not new. That is not there in me. What? Let us see. Let us see. So I need to rush. Annual day function of my kid is there. 11:30 I need to be there. Yes. Yeah, we will create. So we'll create a form. You start enrolling, right? So based on your date, when I think dates won't be announced sooner, right? No, I'll come one day here and take physical. In a day, I can do easily 15 marks, right? So I'll conduct. So wish you all the best. So don't let go of this chance. This is your moment. So those who have given interview previously, though, she got 168. If she had got 175, her rank, 198 IPS, 200 plus IAS, right? By how many marks you missed IAS? You haven't checked. What was your final score? 8? 887. So maybe by 35 marks, maybe, right? So wish you all the best.